All right. Yeah.
Um,
Public.
I texted you.
You text.
Yeah, I need to go to you.
with the stand?
Yeah.
Good. Good evening, everyone. Public comment first.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We'd first like to thank you all for coming out. The July 13th special meeting of the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability is called to order at 6:40 p.m. We will begin with a call of the roll. Commissioner Loizen, Commissioner Gomez,
Present.
Commissioner Terry,
Present.
Commissioner Driver is present, Commissioner Troncoso,
Present.
and Commissioner Beth Brown, who is joining us virtually.
Present.
With 6 of the 7 commissioners on the CCPSA present, we have a quorum and can conduct the public business. The next item of business on the agenda is public comment. If you would like to share something related to the commission's work on public safety and accountability, you have a few options. You can speak at a public meeting. You can also submit public comment in writing by emailing your comment to Community Commission Public Comment at cityofchicago.org. Again, that's Community Commission Public Comment at cityofchicago.org. Or you can bring a copy of your comment to one of the commission's public meetings and give it to someone on the commission staff or someone who is on the commission. People who wanted to speak during the public comment period tonight were asked to submit their names in writing earlier tonight. Names were then drawn at random by a member of the commission staff. Speakers will be called in the order in which their names were drawn. If your name is called to offer public comment, We ask that you approach the microphone and line up in the order in which your name is called. When it is your turn to speak, please say your name and then spell your name for the record, and then offer your comments. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. We have allotted a total of 20 minutes for public comment. And with that, we will begin with our folks who are joining us virtually first, who have signed up for public comment, and those are, first person is Nancy Rodriguez, who is joining us via Zoom. Okay, I don't think Nancy's here, so we will move to David White. Anybody still here via Zoom? Can we confirm that?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please offer your comment.
Okay, my name is David White. That's DAVIDWHITE. So may I begin?
Yes, please do.
Okay, some Chicagoans have expressed the view that we need to choose a superintendent from within our police department. But it seems unlikely that we can find a veteran of the CPD who will transform it from an institution of intimidation to one of compassion. Consider the following. Since 2016, Chicago taxpayers have spent $578 million on judgments against police for misconduct. Hundreds of CPD officers cannot be called on to testify in court because they've been known to falsify reports or perjure themselves. Last March, police officers re-elected a confrontational union president who resigned from the CPD in 2021 to avoid being fired for misconduct. In 2019, a consent decree was established due to the violation of constitutional rights of Black and Latino residents. According to Maggie Hickey, the independent monitor of the decree, only 6% of the requirements of the decree have been met after over 4 years of monitoring. This lack of compliance is evident in a recent report from the ACLU indicating our police officers are still pulling over Black and Latino drivers at a rate 7 times higher than white drivers. The police in Chicago inhabit a culture that is racially prejudiced and believes intimidation and violence are the keys to maintaining order. Mayor Johnson needs to select a superintendent who will challenge rather than perpetuate this approach and work to create a new culture wherein the police are part of the community rather than antagonistic toward it. That person is unlikely to come from within a department that has repeatedly resisted all efforts for reform. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White, for your comments. We will now move on to in-person public comments, with our first speaker being Natalie Coleman. Also, if you are not able to come to the mic, please raise your hand so that we can bring one to you. Natalie Coleman, present. We'll move on to, I believe this says Keith Brown. No, Keith. I can't read your last name, so Keith, first initial B, if it's not Brown. Kobe Guillory. And I'm going to read a few so you can line up. After Kobe, we have John Catanzaro Jr. and then Daryl Smith.
Hello, my name is Kobe Guillory. That's Kobigillillory. And I'm a member of the Chicago Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. I say that to say, I'm here as part of an organization that I'll stop touching the mic, I'm sorry. I'm here as part of an organization that, really fought to get this commission established and fought to get the district councils established in all 22 police districts around the city. So, I come here to say that I'm supporting the community commission. I appreciate the work that y'all are doing. And at the same time, I want to say thank you to everybody who's here. But at the same time, we need to be filling up these spaces that we're having these meetings in. Because like the previous speaker said, it's not just an issue of one police officer, right? It's not just one bad apple. It's a whole systemic issue. And the Chicago Police Department needs to be cleaned out from top to bottom. So, while I trust the community commission in selecting a new superintendent, I want to implore the community to stay involved, because that's the only way that the police department is going to get cleaned out. If we keep showing up to these community commission meetings, keep showing up to the district council meetings, there's some district councilors here, and these are people who got involved because they wanted to hold police accountable, because they wanted to change the way that the police interact with the community. So we as the community need to stay involved. We need to keep supporting them. So again, thank you all for coming out here, and please keep attending your district council meetings. And for the next community commission meeting, bring more people, if you came here with one person, you got to bring 2 next time. If you came here with 5 people, bring 10 next time, because we need to get this done. We need to clean this department out. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby.
Good evening. I am the aforementioned president of the FOP that Mr. White spoke of. I might surprise some people in this room. I want to commend the commission. Thank you for the work you've done. This process is 100 times better than what it was when the police board was conducting it. It's much more fair and inclusive. And I want to just say thank you on behalf of the 17,000 members I represent in the FOP for giving our members a voice in this process and explaining to you what is important to them in the boss that's going to lead them forward. The same men and women who defend these streets every day that recovered 12,000 weapons off the street last year. That's 12,000 weapons, mind you, that could be used for more homicides that are no longer on the streets for that purpose. Every interaction, or most of them, with them 12,000 weapons could be a deadly encounter by those officers, like Ariana Preston sadly faced not but a couple months ago, along with Andres Vasquez Lasso, trying to make this city safe for everybody. We are not perfect. We are no different than any other profession in this world. But I can tell you, I know my membership, and I know the majority, the super majority of them are out to do the right thing for the right reasons to make this city safe for everybody. So I want to commend you again on your efforts. Thank you for the inclusion, and good luck in your search.
Thank you.
Good evening. I also want to commend the committee. Daryl Smith, president of the Inglewood Political Task Force. I'm a 53-year resident of this community of Inglewood. Like I said, I want to commend the commission. I don't want to get up here and speak about data. A lot of people can research and speak about data. I want to speak about personal experiences. And my personal experience with Chief Snelling is that he was a commander in this district. And he was one of the few commanders that had an open door policy. He bridged the gap between the community and the police. So he wasn't just out there policing. I had a couple of personal incidences, one being in 2020 when Black Lives Matter Chicago came up and they tried to cause a ruckus, and the community stood their ground and the police let us do what we needed to do. And I think that when you have a police that have the confidence in the community to police themselves, like Larry Snelling did, that's somebody who we need. We need someone from inside, someone who came through the ranks. And I hope that the mayor in his picking picks Larry Snelling. That's just my opinion. Also, I was fortunate enough 2 weeks ago to be at the University of Chicago with over 30 police chiefs throughout the United States. And me and Chief Snellen taught a class. And some of the things that he told those top officers, I think it would be great for him to embed that in the officers that's out here on the streets today, because officers are 95 and 5. 90% of the officers come to work, do 8 hours, go home. 5% are outstanding officers like Larry Snellen, and 5% are rotten to the core. So we need someone like Larry Snellen to help bring those 5% that's rotten to the core, to their senses. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll again call a few so that you can be ready. The first is Andre Smith. The next is a member of our Non-Citizen Advisory Council, Ariana Correa, and Angel Ruby Navarrijo, and Billy House. Okay. Andre Smith.
Mama D. Evangel Yanubian. And I'm an advocate for Indigenous Black American rights. I'd like to know if your job requires you to take an oath of office to the Constitution. And if it does, the 14th Amendment says, if you're not born in America, you must be naturalized and pass a citizenship test that requires you to read, write, and speak English. And only citizens can legally vote in federal, state, or city elections. And I'd like to ask if you have to take that oath to the Constitution and it comes to you doing your constitutional duty or doing the duty of the people or the mayor that appointed you, which loyalty would you take, the Constitution or who appointed you?
It's our public comment period isn't a discussion or a back and forth. We're here to hear from you, but it's our policy that we don't typically respond. If you would like to talk after this, I'll be happy to answer that question.
Isn't that question part of?
I'm loyal to the people of Chicago. I'm not loyal to any administration or any particular person. I'm loyal to my community.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, but I wanted to know, sometimes you take an oath of office and that I wanted to know about that. But I would hope that your selections are good and thoughtful, and I'm appreciative that you did not bow to pressure of the letters that the aldermans got together and decided that they would be better at doing your job than you are. And I'm glad you didn't bow to that.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ariana Correa. Next to me is Ruby Navarrijo, and we serve as appointed members of the Commission's Non-Citizen Advisory Council. The Non-Citizen Advisory Council, or NAC, includes Chicago residents who are not United States citizens, undocumented, and people who work on behalf of Chicago residents who are not United States citizens. Commissioners have convened this special meeting today to discuss the finalists for Superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. In the midst of recent news that some Chicago police officers have sexually assaulted or raped migrants. The offenses committed by these officers are horrendous and heartbreaking. It is not the kind of national attention the city of Chicago or the Chicago Police Department deserve. The Non-Citizen Advisory Council implores the Chicago Police Department, COPA, the Commission, and the next superintendent to take swift action to bring justice to the women and minor affected. As a group, we have 3 demands. transparency on the actions taken by the Chicago Police Department, the immediate removal of the officers involved from the Chicago Police Department for the well-being of our communities, and ensuring policies and cultures are implemented to protect all people. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next three speakers are, wait, did Billy House? Okay, sorry, want to make sure. Bomani Obadelli, Evangelist Mama D. So okay.
All right, I want to say good evening to everyone here, to the Police Accountability
Can you-
Commission. Thank you.
Need your name and.
Bomani Obadelli, community organizer, and I work with a community organization, Anti-Violence Group, Activists Inc., where I do community engagement for them. And I just want to thank the Police Accountability Committee for all the hard work that you guys have done, going through 58 candidates or so. And I want to thank the community organizations who really put this whole process in place where we have now got a voice of the people in the community. So shout out to CPAC and Frank Chapman and all those folks who really have fought over the last 20 years for us to be in this space, that you will now send, 3 names to the mayor, and the mayor will actually pick a superintendent that has been chosen by the people. And so this is a really important and a big deal today. And I want you to get it right? So I'm hoping in your selection process is someone who really understands constitutional policing, somebody who really understands the bowels of the community, and even like the mayor said, the real flavor of Chicago, someone who understands how to be the police when it's necessary, but also how to work and see the community as allies and not, as enemies, right? And so I stand tonight in support of Larry Snellen, who I feel is the best choice. And I'm hoping that he's one of the names that is sent. And I can go with Angel Navales. I'll be fair. I can go with the Chief Navales. He's someone who also understands police. Well, that's fine. I can go with an Angel Navales. I would have a hard time supporting anyone who sent out memos ordering police officers to up their stops, to stop innocent Black people for no reason. There's no way a person like that should be even considered to be police superintendent. So the ACLU was right in filing that lawsuit, and I thank you for your time. Please do not send anybody to the mayor that has violated our people.
To our commission staff, is there anybody else on the Zoom that is doing public comment? No, that if you didn't submit one of these sheets ahead of time, then we are going. I can't hear you, sir. But with that will close our public comment period. We will now move on to new business, and that new business is the nomination of 3 finalists to send to Mayor Johnson for consideration for the next superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. Oh, is she here? He here? Oh, I apologize. I didn't realize you were here. Sorry, before we move on to new business, we did have one public comment, one more speaker.
Okay. Hi, my name is Billie House, Billie, House, House. I have been a resident of this community for over 60 years, and the corruption of the police is still the same. You know what I'm saying? So we need to just clean house. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of all of them, because in 60 years of here in our community, it's still the same. So I don't care what you pick on, they're still gonna be the same. You got to clean house.
Thank you for your comment. That concludes our public comment period. We will now move on to new business, which is advancing 3 names to Mayor Johnson for the selection of Chicago Police Superintendent. Everybody, can you still hear me from here? Good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony Driver Jr., and I have the pleasure of serving as the president of the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability and one of two commissioners who led the superintendent search. I'm a born and raised Southsider who grew up less than 10 blocks from where we are currently holding this meeting. Throughout this process, we have attempted to engage Chicagoans of all walks of life and put the community's voice at the forefront. This was not public engagement for the sake of checking a box. This was public engagement for the sake of checking in with the community. That's a community that encompasses many different races, religions, neighborhoods, and cultures. However, at our core, we all want the same thing, and that is to be and feel safe and to be respected. And that starts at the top. A courageous and compassionate leader is someone who will understand that victims of violent crime want to be treated with empathy when they are engaging with police officers. That transit and postal workers want to not go to work every day in fear. Someone that believes in collaboration. They will understand that the consent decree is not the ceiling, but it is the floor. That it is a mandate and a roadmap. That officers who put their lives on the line every day deserve to have a stable schedule and be able to plan their lives. That no one should be going months on end without a weekend off. That the people who dial 911 on the South and the West Side deserve equity in services and response times the same as those on the North Side. That community policing, where the people and the officers in any given community can actually form a relationship because they work the same beat every day and have the same supervisors. That can grapple with the tarnished legacy of the past while simultaneously charting a new path for the future. Someone who leads by example and is present, who takes morale seriously and is committed to improving it, who doesn't view community oversight and accountability as an impediment, but rather as an opportunity. These are not just my words. These are some of the things that we heard from the thousands of Chicagoans who we engaged with during this process. And we have heard you loud and clear. Many of the questions generated from the community, from subject matter experts, and from district council members were asked directly to these applicants. We also used that feedback to develop our rubric criteria. And we also heard from Chicagoans who do not believe in this process or this commission. And those voices are equally as important. Our goal and our job was never to be experts. It was to listen to the experts. And in the eyes of this commission, no one is more qualified to select the next superintendent of Chicago Police Department than the experts who live in our communities. We have and will continue to put the community at the forefront of everything that we do. And I also want to be clear that Chicago has a residency requirement. And so that means that the officers who patrol our communities are also a part of it. The only way that we can move forward is together, successfully is together. Commissioner Terry and I have each logged over 100 hours of engagement on this subject. Our staff has worked long hours into the night, and we have done our best to make ourselves available to any Chicagoan with an opinion on this subject. We've engaged with over 65 groups representing the different sectors that make our city work every day, from faith and labor groups to activists and business leaders. Our search truly brought to life one of the purposes of our commission and why we exist, to ensure a truly grassroots-driven approach to public safety and police accountability, including the next leader of the Chicago Police Department. We are looking for a generational leader, and we believe that we have found three. With that, I will now turn it over to Commissioner Terry, who will walk you all through our process and how we got to these three finalists. Thank you.
Good evening again and welcome. As Commissioner Driver pointed out, I'm going to give you a rundown of where we've been and how we got here. Under city ordinance passed in July of 2021, when there is a vacancy in the position of superintendent of police, the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability is responsible for nominating 3 candidates for consideration to the mayor. This is a power that was previously held by the police board. The commission officially began its search process on March 16th, when the former police superintendent's resignation went into effect. On April 7th, the commission launched a nationwide search where we received 54 applications. As we prepared to review the applications, we solicited input from a broad range of stakeholders, including an unprecedented level of input from community members. We held 7 public forums in the communities across the city. We met with 68 local organizations, including activists and advocacy groups, business groups, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, and the FOP, Sergeant and Lieutenant Police Unions. We created surveys and received more than 600 responses, including 270 from sworn Chicago police officers. And we interviewed 34 subject matter experts, including retired police chiefs and other police leaders from Chicago and other big cities, police reform experts, and community-based public safety practitioners. In all of these meetings and conversations, we asked for inputs on the qualifications and experience we should be looking for in the next superintendent. This helped to ensure that our interviews and deliberations were fully informed by the perspectives and priority of a wide array of people with deep knowledge and relevant experience. Every commissioner reviewed the applications. We met in an executive session to discuss the 54 applicants and identify the candidates to interview. We conducted 2 rounds of interviews to assess candidates' qualifications, experience, and alignment with the goals and values set out in the application, and the qualities and characteristics that were highlighted throughout the engagement process I just described. In the first round, President Driver and I interviewed 13 candidates over 3 days and carefully reviewed the candidates' professional accomplishments. We shared what we learned with the full commission, and we all agreed on 6 candidates to bring back for a second interview. The full commission participated in the second round of interviews, which were held over the course of 2 days. After the interviews, background checks were conducted on all finalists, and we engaged in hours of discussion and deliberation, working to identify the 3 candidates best qualified for the job. Based on the criteria that we had included in the original job application and what we learned through all of the feedback we gathered throughout the process. Earlier today, as allowed under the Illinois Open Meetings Act, the commission met in a closed session to discuss the finalists. From the beginning, we have been committed to making this process more transparent than searches that happened before this. More information about this process has been posted on the commission's website, so feel free to check it out. The process we've described above was exhaustive and thorough, and we believe that it resulted in 3 candidates who could all thoughtfully and competently lead the department. With a clear strategic vision that will reduce crime and violence, emphasize community-based and constitutional policing, provide better working conditions for police officers and better support their mental and physical health, and achieve full compliance of the consent decree. And once the mayor selects, the city council confirms the next superintendent, we will continue our work to ensure that they lead the department in a way that is guided and in close partnership with the community. Not all commissioners are present for this meeting, but we all are unanimous in our support of the process to select the 3 nominees. Before we take final action on the selection of nominees, I would like to present a little information about the 3 nominees. The nominees for the position of Superintendent of the Chicago Police Department listed alphabetically are Sean Barnes, Angel Novales, and Larry Snelling. Chief Sean Barnes has been a police officer and a police executive for over 23 years. Currently, he serves as the chief of police in Madison, Wisconsin. He is highly regarded leader recognized for his experience in crime reduction, community-based and problem-oriented policing strategies, and community policing relations. He was the deputy chief of police in Salisbury, North Carolina from 2017 until 2020, and captain of Greensboro, North Carolina Police Department, where he began his career as a patrol officer in 2000. He served as the director of training and professional development for the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, also known as COPA, in Chicago. He was honored as the National Institute of Justice Lead Scholar for using innovative technology to reduce crime. He is also a University of Chicago Police Leadership Academy Committee member. Chief Barnes is also an accomplished academic with a PhD in leadership studies, specializing in community and civic engagement, strategic planning, police disparities, and organizational change. His dissertation examined racial disparities and profiling in the police traffic stops. He earned his PhD magna cum laude from North Carolina A&T University and a master's in science and criminal justice from the University of Cincinnati. Chief Angel Novales is a 23-year member of the Chicago Police Department. He currently serves as the Chief of Constitutional Policing and Reform. He is responsible for leading the department's policy and training reform strategy and leading the efforts to bring the department further into compliance with the consent decree. As Deputy Chief of Community Policing from 2021 until 2022, he oversaw the program and the expansion of CPD's Civil Rights Unit. He was also responsible for fulfilling community policing related consent decree requirements. He previously served as commander of the Office of Community Policing from 2020 until 2021, a lieutenant in Area 4 in 2020, a sergeant in the 5th District, and a police officer in various neighborhoods. He also served as a commanding officer of the Procedural Justice Training Program at the Education and Training Division. Chief Novales has testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee about the impact of gun violence on Chicago communities and officers in law enforcement. He received a bachelor's degree in public safety management from Calumet College of St. Joseph and is currently a candidate for an MBA from St. Xavier University. Chief Larry Snelling is a 28-year member of the Chicago Police Department. Currently, he serves as the Chief of Counterterrorism for the Chicago Police Department and oversees a department of 1,200 members assigned to multiple divisions, including criminal network, airport operations, and public transportation section. Chief Snelling served as the Deputy Chief of Area 2 from 2020 until 2022, Commander of the 7th District in 2020, Lieutenant of the 7th District from 2019 until 2020, Sergeant of Training from 2011 until 2019, Sergeant of Patrol of the 22nd District from 2020 until 2011. And as an instructor in the academy in the training model around national best practices in constitutional policing, and he testified as an expert in federal use of force cases. Chief Snelling was the lead trainer for field force training for the 2012 Chicago NATO Summit. He received his BA from DePaul University and is currently a candidate for a Master's of Ethical Leadership from the University of Chicago. So in accordance with MCC 2-80-80A, I move to nominate Chief Sean Barnes, Chief Angel Novales, and Chief Larry Snelling for the position of the Superintendent of Chicago Police Department.
Any second? Commissioner Terry has moved to nominate Chief Sean Barnes, Chief Angel Novales, and Chief Larry Snelling. And it was been seconded by Commissioner Troncoso for the position of Superintendent of Chicago Police Department, and to submit these nominations to the mayor. Is there any debate or comment on the motion? Commissioner Brown, we get a verbal acknowledgement?
Yes.
She's still here?
Yep.
With that, we will now move, hearing no debate, we will now move to a vote. Those in favor, sorry, Commissioner Terry has moved and Commissioner Troncoso has seconded to nominate the following three individuals for the position of Superintendent of the Chicago Police Department and submit these names to the mayor. They are Chief Sean Barnes, Chief Angel Navales, and Chief Larry Snelling. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is that Cliff? So just stating for the record that Commissioner Nellis is now present and all seven commissioners are present for this vote. The ayes have it, it unanimously passes with the majority of commissioners voting in favor. Congratulations to all the nominees and good luck. We will now move on to close the meeting. To connect with the commission via social media, you can find us on Facebook at Chicago CCPSA, on Instagram, CCPSA_Chicago. The same for Twitter and on YouTube, Chicago CCPSA. The commission's next regular meeting will be held Thursday, July 27th at 6:30 p.m. Is there any further business before the commission? Hearing none, this meeting is now adjourned. What is that? Like, me taking with us? Oh, yeah, I got it.